The sound of running water shouldn't have caught my attention, but at 2 a.m. everything feels different. I'd just gotten home early from my business trip to surprise Alla, my wife of 7 years. The bathroom door was closed, soft light seeping underneath. And that's when I heard her whisper, "My name is Hugo." And until that moment, I thought I had everything figured out. Self-made tech entrepreneur, beautiful wife, dream house overlooking the city. The kind of life that makes people wonder how you got so lucky. I stood there in the hallway, still holding my carry-on, when Alea's voice drifted through the door. "No, baby, he's in Chicago until tomorrow night. Trust me." My heart stopped. The water was running, but her words came through clear enough. I set my bag down silently. Years of late-night coding sessions making me naturally quiet. "Tomorrow we drain his accounts," she continued, her voice excited, playful. "I've got access to everything now. The idiot trusts me completely." A male laugh crackled through what must have been her phone's speaker. Deep, confident, young. I know, Alea giggled. 7 years of playing the perfect wife. God, it was torture sometimes, but it'll be worth it when we're lying on that beach." My fingers found my phone in my pocket. With trembling hands, I opened the recording app. "The transfer is all set up," she continued. "As soon as the markets open, everything moves. He'll be in meetings all day. By the time he notices..." She laughed softly. "Then we vanish." The male voice said something I couldn't quite catch. Of course, I left no trail, Bran. I'm not stupid. I learned from watching him build his precious company. All those nights he spent working late, I was learning too. I backed away from the door, my sock-clad feet silent on the hardwood floors. The guest room was 3 doors down. I slipped inside just as I heard the bathroom door open. "Hugo," Alea called out softly, probably checking if the house was still empty. I didn't answer. I sat in the dark, listening to her footsteps pass by. The master bedroom door clicked shut. My phone screen illuminated the darkness as I played back the recording. Each word felt like a knife. 7 years. 7 years of morning kisses. Weekend getaways. Building a life together. I'd surprised her with flowers last week. Just because. We'd made love on Sunday morning, and she'd whispered she loved me. The bedside clock hit 2:30 a.m. I pulled out my laptop and logged into our joint accounts. Everything looked normal, but I knew better now. I'd built my company on seeing patterns others missed. Now I had until market open to prevent my wife from stealing everything I'd spent 15 years building. I opened my contacts and scrolled to Isabel, my corporate attorney and oldest friend. My finger hovered over the call button. This would wake her up, but that's what best friends are for. The call connected on the 3rd ring. "Hugo?" Isabel's voice was thick with sleep. "What's wrong?" "I need you to listen carefully," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "I need you to start freezing accounts. All of them. Right now." "What? Why?" "Because my wife is planning to empty them in about 5 hours. And then she's going to disappear with her lover." There was a sharp intake of breath, then the sound of rustling sheets. "I'm getting dressed. Tell me everything." I glanced at the wall separating me from the master bedroom, where Alea slept peacefully, probably dreaming of beaches and stolen millions. "Oh, I will," I said quietly. "And then we're going to make sure she never sees it coming." The city lights blurred through my windshield as I drove to the office. 3:15 a.m. And my world was unraveling one revelation at a time. Isabel's voice came through the car's speakers. "I've frozen the main accounts," she said. "But, Hugo, there's something else. I'm looking at recent transactions. Tell me. Large transfers. Really large. Starting about 8 months ago. They're cleverly disguised as business expenses, but they're going to an account I don't recognize." I pulled into the empty parking garage, my Tesla's headlights cutting through the darkness. How much? Just over 4 million. The number hit me like a physical blow. I gripped the steering wheel harder, remembering last Christmas when Alea had tearfully thanked me for giving her everything she ever wanted. Inside my office, I booted up my computer while keeping Isabel on speaker. I need you to trace those transfers. Already on it. But Hugo, there's more. Someone's been accessing the company's confidential files, using your login credentials. I pulled up our cloud storage, scrolling through recent activity. She had my passwords. I never thought... I stopped mid-sentence, staring at a folder I didn't recognize. What is it? Isabel asked. Photos. My voice sounded distant to my own ears. She forgot to delete them from the cloud. I clicked through them slowly. Alea and a man I didn't recognize. Young, muscular. The kind of guy who probably lived at the gym. They were at our beach house in the Hamptons. In our bed. The timestamps showed dates when I'd been away on business trips. I'm calling Colton, I said, referring to my CFO. We need to lock down everything. Already texted him. He's on his way in. Isabel paused. Hugo, are you okay? I laughed, but it came out hollow. No, but I will be. While waiting for Colton, I dug deeper. Property records showed 3 recent purchases in Alea's name, paid for with our joint funds. One was scheduled to close tomorrow morning. My phone buzzed. A text from Alea. Miss you, baby. Can't wait for you to come home tomorrow night. I stared at the heart emoji, remembering how she'd whispered baby to her lover just hours ago. Colton arrived at 4 a.m., coffee in hand. Jesus, Hugo, I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry. Be thorough. I showed him the transfers Isabel had found. I need to know where every penny went. He sat down at his desk, fingers flying over the keyboard. These transfers, they're sophisticated. Someone helped her set this up. The lover, I said. Find out who he is. Brian, Isabel chimed in through the speaker. That's what she called him. Colton nodded, already searching. Got something. Brian Kelly. Personal trainer at Elite Fitness. That's where Alea goes. Went. My phone buzzed again. Rachel, Alea's best friend, responding to a casual text I'd sent asking about their girls' trip last month. OMG, Aruba was amazing. Though I wish I could have gone. Alea said it was just what she needed to relax. I read the message aloud. She went with him, Isabel said quietly, using my money. I leaned back in my chair, watching the sunrise paint the sky pink through my office windows. The same sky Alea had watched from a beach with her lover, planning my destruction. What do you want to do? Colton asked. I pulled up the invitation list for Alea's surprise birthday party, scheduled for next week. An event she'd been pushing for, probably planning to disappear right after. We're going to give her exactly what she wants, I said. A party she'll never forget. And then, I thought of the recording on my phone, the photos, the fraud trail she'd left. Then we show her what it feels like to lose everything. Morning came too quickly. I'd gone home just long enough to shower and change, making sure to leave before Alea woke up. Now I sat in a cafe across from Elite Fitness, watching through tinted windows as my wife arrived for her morning workout. Targets entering now, the PI's voice crackled through my earpiece. Subject B already inside. I sipped my coffee, remembering how Alea used to bring me breakfast in bed. How many of those mornings had she just come from him? They're meeting in the private training room, the PI continued. Want audio? Yes. A few seconds later, their voices came through clearly. Baby, everything's ready, Alea said, breathless. The account's set up in the Bahamas. Untraceable. You're sure he doesn't suspect anything? Brian's voice was deeper in person than over the phone. Hugo, please. He's too busy with his precious company to notice anything. Did you see the necklace he bought me last week? $5,000. And he didn't even question why I wanted it. My hand tightened around my coffee cup. That necklace had been a just because gift. She'd cried when I gave it to her. My phone buzzed. Colton. You need to see this, he said when I answered. The money trail. It's worse than we thought. She's been selling company information. I stood up abruptly, leaving cash on the table. What kind of information? Development plans, client lists, upcoming contracts. She's been feeding them to a competitor. The timestamps match her gym visits. The pieces click together. Brian's not just her lover. He's their contact. Bingo. And guess who owns Elite Fitness? Maxwell Corp. Our biggest competitor. The same company that had mysteriously outbid us on 3 major contracts this year. I walked to my car, mind racing. Get me everything on Brian. Criminal record, financial history, everything. Already did. He's got priors. Credit card fraud, identity theft. Did time in Florida. Does Alea know? Doubt it. Records were sealed, but Isabel's contact in the DA's office owed her a favor. My phone chimed with another message. Rachel again. Hey, weird question. Alea asked me to hold on to some documents for her. Said they're just backup copies of your joint accounts. That normal? I pulled over, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Could you scan them for me? Just want to make sure everything's in order. Sure, give me a sec. 10 minutes later, my screen filled with images. Forged documents. My signature. Perfectly replicated, authorizing massive transfers. I forwarded everything to Isabel. This is federal crime territory, she texted back. Want me to make the call? Not yet. Let's see how deep this goes. I drove to the office, mind clear for the first time since hearing that bathroom conversation. In the elevator, I got another text from the PI. Subject B just left gym. Following now. Colton met me at my office door. Found the offshore account. Alea's got a flight booked to Nassau. Next week, day after her birthday party. Only 1 ticket? No, 2. But the second name is blank. I walked to the window, looking out at the city I'd built my life in. Behind me, Colton cleared his throat. There's something else. Savannah's here. Says she needs to talk to you. Savannah, our mutual friend, stood in the doorway looking uncomfortable. Hugo, I should have told you sooner, but I saw something last month. At the marina. Tell me. Alea was with someone. They were looking at boats. Expensive ones. She was wearing a diamond necklace I'd never seen before. When I asked her about it later, she said you'd bought it for her. I turned back to the window, my reflection hard and unfamiliar. No, I said quietly. I didn't buy that one. She bought it herself, with money she stole from me. The pieces were falling into place. Now it was time to make them fall apart. The forensic accountant's report landed on my desk with a thud. It's all here, she said. Every transfer, every forged document, every data leak. You want the short version or the long one? Give me everything. She opened the file. Your wife didn't just steal money. She created a whole shadow operation. Fake companies, backdated documents, insider trading based on information she stole from your servers. Total damages. She pointed to a number that made my throat tight. Just under 12 million. My phone buzzed. The PI had sent new photos. Alea and Brian at a jewelry store. Her trying on watches that cost more than most cars. My money paying for gifts to her lover. Isabel walked in, holding her tablet. Hugo, we've got enough for criminal charges. Multiple felonies. Not yet, I said, standing up. The birthday party's in 3 days. I want her to feel completely safe until then. Speaking of the party, Colton said from his desk, you should see this email she sent to the venue. I walked over. The message detailed specific instructions for the evening, including a special moment where she planned to give me a surprise gift in front of everyone. She's going to try to play the perfect wife one last time, I said, my voice hollow, before disappearing with everything. My phone rang. Rachel's name flashed on the screen. Hugo? Her voice was shaking. I need to tell you something. I can't keep quiet anymore. What is it, Rachel? Alea's planning to leave. She bought plane tickets. She made me promise not to tell you, but she took a deep breath. She's been seeing someone for months. I thought it was but it's more. They're planning something. When did you find out? Last week. I saw messages on her phone. They're talking about money, lots of it. Your money. I think they're going to steal from you. I closed my eyes. Thank you for telling me, Rachel. Can you do one more thing for me? Anything. Don't tell Alea you called. Let her think everything's fine. After hanging up, I turned to my team. Time to set the final trap. Isabel nodded. The venue's secured. Audio-visual system installed. Police are on standby. What about Brian? Colton asked. Let him think his plan is working. I pulled up the surveillance photos. He'll be watching the party's live stream, waiting for his signal to pick her up afterward. That's when the police get him. My phone chimed with a text from Alea. Can't wait for my party, baby. I have such a special surprise for you. I showed the message to Isabel. She's planning to humiliate me in front of everyone before she runs. Make the announcement about leaving me right there at the party. Little does she know, Isabel said, pulling up a document on her tablet. The divorce papers are ready, along with the criminal complaints. The PI sent another update. Subjects meeting at hotel. Recording device active. Through my earpiece, I heard Alea's voice. 3 more days, baby, we'll be rich and he'll be destroyed. It's perfect. Brian laughed. You should see what I bought you for after. A little celebration gift with his money. You're so bad, she giggled. I love it. I turned off the audio, my hands steady despite the rage burning inside. On my desk sat the birthday card I'd written for her party. Inside, instead of a loving message, was a single sentence. I heard everything that night in the bathroom. Colton looked up from his computer. Everything's in place. You sure you want to go through with the public reveal? I picked up the necklace I'd given her last week, the one she'd cried over, and dropped it in an evidence bag. She chose her audience, I said. Now she'll have to face them. You're awfully quiet this morning, Alea said, reaching across the breakfast table to touch my hand. Everything okay? I smiled, amazed at how easily the expression came. Just thinking about your party tomorrow night. Want it to be perfect. You're so sweet. She squeezed my hand. I can't wait. I have something really special planned. So do I murmured, watching her eat the breakfast she'd made. Probably the last one we'd share. My phone buzzed. Isabel. Police confirmed. Units ready at both exits. Second team at hotel where B is staying. I excused myself to take a work call, stepping onto the balcony. Everything set with the venue? Yes, Isabel replied. Audio-visual team just finished the setup. Hidden cameras everywhere. The slideshow is ready, including the special editions. And the guests? All confirmed. Her parents, friends, colleagues, full house. I watched through the glass as Alea cleared the table, humming to herself. What about the offshore accounts? Frozen. She won't know until she tries to access them. Same with the properties she bought. Liens are in place. My phone beeped with another message. The PI. Subject B just checked into hotel. Meeting A in 30 minutes. Time for my spa appointment, Alea called out, grabbing her keys. Birthday treat to myself. Have fun, I said, kissing her cheek. She smelled like expensive perfume, another recent purchase with my money. Once she left, I called Colton. Start the transfer. Move everything to the secure accounts. Already done. She's completely locked out, she just doesn't know it yet. He paused. Hugo, Rachel's here again. Put her on. Rachel's voice trembled. I found something in Alea's gym bag. Passport, cash, new credit cards in a different name. She's really going to do it. Thank you, Rachel. Will you be at the party? Yes, I'll help however I can. I spent the next hour finalizing details with the catering company, making sure everything appeared perfect. The cake, the champagne, the flowers, all exactly as Alea had requested. My phone buzzed again. The PI had sent new photos. Alea and Brian in his hotel room, counting stacks of cash. Ready for tomorrow, baby? Alea's voice came through the surveillance feed. I've got my speech all planned out. Poor Hugo won't know what hit him. What are you going to say? Brian asked. I'm going to tell everyone how he neglected me, how he was never there. Make them all see what a terrible husband he was. Then announce I'm leaving him. She laughed. By the time anyone realizes the accounts are empty, we'll be gone. I forwarded the audio to Isabel. Perfect evidence, she texted back. Officer Bailey says this makes the case airtight. I drove to the venue to check the final preparations. The rooftop garden was beautiful, strings of lights creating a warm glow. The projector screen was set up, ready to display the slideshow that would change everything. Savannah met me there. Stage is set. The envelope with the evidence is hidden exactly where you specified. And the cameras. Hidden but perfect angles. We'll catch every expression. My phone chimed one last time. Alea. Just finished at the spa. Can't wait for tomorrow night, baby. You make me so happy. I stared at the message, remembering every lie, every stolen dollar, every secret meeting. Tomorrow she'd learn the true cost of betrayal. You okay? Savannah asked softly. I looked out over the city lights, thinking of the woman who thought she'd orchestrated the perfect escape. I'm better than okay, I said. I'm ready. The stage was set. In 24 hours, Alea's perfect plan would crumble in front of everyone she knew. And I would watch it all unfold, one devastating revelation at a time. Surprise! The crowd shouted as Alea stepped onto the rooftop garden. Her hand flew to her mouth in perfectly practiced shock, tears already forming in her eyes. I stood at the front of the group, champagne in hand, watching my wife perform her last act. She looked stunning in her red dress. Purchased, I knew, for her escape rather than the party. Oh my God, she gasped, rushing to hug me. Baby, you shouldn't have. Over her shoulder, I caught Isabel's eye. She nodded slightly, phone in hand. Everything was in position. Only the best for you, I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The crowd awed appropriately. The evening progressed exactly as planned. Dinner, drinks, laughter. Alea worked the room like a professional, accepting gifts and compliments with practiced grace. Her parents beamed with pride, completely unaware of what their daughter had become. Time for the slideshow, Rachel announced, right on cue. The lights dimmed. Alea settled into her seat of honor, squeezing my hand. You're the best husband ever, she whispered. The first photos were innocent enough. Our wedding, vacations, happy moments. Then came the more recent ones. I felt Alea stiffen beside me as a photo of her and Brian appeared. Oh, must be a mistake, she said quickly, but the next image appeared. Security footage of her leaving hotels with him. Hugo. Her voice cracked. More photos followed. Her secret meetings, the cash exchanges, the forged documents. Each one carefully time-stamped and documented. The color drained from her face as her voice played through the speakers. Tomorrow we drain his accounts. Then we vanish. Gasps filled the room. Her mother covered her mouth in horror. What is this? Alea stood up, trembling. Hugo, what are you doing? I remained seated, taking a slow sip of champagne. Showing everyone the truth, darling. Isn't that what you plan to do tonight? I don't know what you're talking about. No? I nodded to Isabel, who pressed play on her tablet. Allah's voice filled the rooftop again. I'm going to tell everyone how terrible he was, then announce I'm leaving him. By the time anyone realizes the accounts are empty, we'll be gone. You recorded me? She backed away, looking for an escape route. Actually, you recorded yourself. That cloud storage you forgot to clear? It syncs automatically. Red and blue lights suddenly flashed from the street below. Officer Bailey stepped out of the shadows, badge visible. Mrs. Myers, we need to speak with you about some financial discrepancies. You can't prove anything, she hissed at me. I pulled out an envelope. Actually, I can. 12 million in fraud, corporate espionage, identity theft. I laid out the papers one by one. Your boyfriend Brian is already in custody, by the way. Turns out he has quite a history with law enforcement. You're lying. I played one final recording. Brian's confession to the police, made an hour ago, throwing her under the bus to save himself. Aaliyah lunged for her purse, probably reaching for her escape phone, but Rachel had already handed it to Officer Bailey. Looking for this, I asked, holding up her fake passport. Or maybe the cash in your gym bag. The new credit cards under your alias? She crumpled into a chair, mascara running down her cheeks. How long have you known? Since that night in the bathroom. You should have checked if I was really in Chicago. Officer Bailey stepped forward. Ma'am, please stand up. You're under arrest. As they led her away, she turned back one last time. I really did love you once. I watched her disappear into the elevator, then addressed the shocked crowd. There's still cake if anyone wants some, and an open bar. I think we could all use a drink. Isabel appeared at my side. You okay? I loosened my tie, feeling lighter than I had in months. I am now. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from the precinct. Subjects in custody. Case closed. The night wasn't over, but Alea's performance definitely was. The morning after the party, I sat in the district attorney's office, watching Alea through one-way glass. She'd traded her red dress for an orange jumpsuit, her perfect makeup replaced by smeared mascara and defeat. She's ready to talk, Officer Bailey said, joining me. But you might want to hear this. He played an audio file on his phone, Brian's full confession from the night before. It was all her idea, his voice crackled. She approached me at the gym, said she knew about my past. Said she could help me make real money if I helped her take her husband down. Isabel touched my arm. You don't have to be here for this. Yes, I do. We entered the interrogation room. Alea's eyes widened when she saw me, then narrowed. Come to gloat? No. I sat down across from her. Come to show you exactly what you lost. I opened my laptop, turning it to face her. First, the money you thought you'd stolen. It was transferred back before you could touch it. Those offshore accounts you set up? Frozen. Her jaw clenched. The properties you bought with my money? Seized? The evidence you thought you'd hidden? All here. I slid across photos, documents, bank statements, including everything you sold to Maxwell Corp. They can't prove. They already did. Isabel placed a stack of papers on the table. Their CEO turned state's evidence this morning. Apparently, he doesn't want to go down for corporate espionage. Alea's facade cracked. What do you want from me? Nothing. I have everything I need. I pulled out one final document, including your signed confession. I never signed. Check your gym bag. That contract you thought was for the boat you planned to escape on? Read the fine print. Her face went pale as realization hit. You switched the papers. Like you switched my signature on all those transfers? Karma's interesting that way. Officer Bailey stepped forward. Mrs. Myers, given the evidence, the DA is offering a deal. But it expires in an hour. How many years? She whispered. 8 to 12. unless you prefer to go to trial and face 25. Tears finally broke through her composure. Hugo, please. We can work this out. I'll give everything back. Like you gave back the 7 years of my life? The trust? The love I thought was real? It was real. At first, save it for your cellmate. I stood up. Oh, and those divorce papers you were served last night? Already approved by the judge. Emergency order, given the circumstances. You can't just... Actually, I can. And one more thing. I pulled out my phone, showing her the news headlines already circulating. Tech CEO's wife arrested in multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. My reputation, she breathed, is exactly what you deserve. Brian's already trending on social media, by the way. Turns out your lover has quite a fan base in the criminal world. She crumpled the papers in front of her. I should have been smarter. Covered my tracks better. No, Alea, you should have been faithful. As I turned to leave, she called out one last time. What happened to the man I married? He would have forgiven me. I paused at the door. He died the night he heard his wife plotting to destroy him. The man I am now. He makes sure justice is served. Outside, Isabel waited with Colton and Rachel. It's done, Isabel said. She signed the deal. Rachel stepped forward. I'm so sorry, Hugo. I should have told you sooner. You did the right thing in the end. That's what matters. My phone buzzed with a text from Savannah. News wants an interview. What should I tell them? I looked back through the one-way glass at Alea, now sobbing as she signed her plea deal. Tell them, I replied, that sometimes the best revenge is letting justice take its course. And in this case, justice was absolutely perfect. The sunset painted the ocean orange as I sat at my favorite seaside cafe, newspaper spread out before me. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since the verdict was announced. 12 years, Isabel said, sliding into the seat across from me. Maximum sentence. The judge wasn't feeling generous. I pushed a glass of wine toward her. Brian? 8 years. Turns out crying and blaming everything on the evil seductress works better for him than it did for her. The headlines told the whole story. Tech CEO's wife and lover sentenced in multi-million-dollar fraud case. Below that, a smaller headline. Maxwell Corp CEO resigns amid corporate espionage scandal. Your company stock is up 15%, Colton said, joining us. Investors love a good comeback story. Rachel arrived next, looking nervous until I gestured for her to sit. The police finished searching Alea's storage unit, she said. Found everything. The fake IDs, the backup phones, even a diary detailing her plans. How are her parents? I asked. Devastated. Her mother asked me to give you this. She handed me an envelope. Inside was a short note. We raised her better than this. We're so sorry. You didn't have to invite us all here, Savannah said, taking the last seat. Case is closed. I smiled, raising my glass. Actually, I did. Because you all helped me through this. And because I have news. Good news? Isabel asked. The best kind. I pulled out my phone, showing them the email I'd received that morning. Remember that tech startup I almost invested in before Alea tried to drain the accounts? They nodded. Just went public. And since I had the funds to make that investment after all, I let them do the math. Holy shit, Colton whispered, seeing the numbers. Sometimes karma works in mysterious ways, I said. Speaking of which, I opened a small box on the table revealing 5 elegant watches. For my real friends. The ones who stood by me. Hugo, we can't, Rachel started. You can, and you will, because loyalty deserves to be rewarded. As they admired their gifts, my phone buzzed one last time. A message from Officer Bailey. Thought you'd want to know. I tried to access those offshore accounts from prison. Her face when she found them empty? Priceless. To justice, Isabel raised her glass. And to truth, Rachel added. To karma, Savannah smiled. 2 new beginnings, said Colton. I looked at my friends, my real family, and felt something I hadn't experienced since that night by the bathroom door. Peace. To all of that, I said, and to learning that sometimes losing everything you thought you wanted leads to everything you really need, Isabel finished. The sun dipped below the horizon, taking the last traces of Alea's shadow with it. My phone lit up with another news alert. Fraud case leads to new corporate security measures. Ready to head out? Colton asked as the others stood to leave. In a minute, I stayed behind, watching the waves crash against the shore. My wedding ring had long since been sold. The money donated to fraud victim support groups. The betrayal still stung, but differently now. Like an old wound that had finally started to heal. A message popped up from an unknown number. I'm sorry. A. I deleted it without responding. Some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. Instead, I typed out a quick message to my team. Meeting tomorrow at 9. Time to build something new. The future stretched out before me, clean and bright, and full of possibilities. And this time, I knew exactly who to trust along the way. Rising from the table, I left enough cash to cover everyone's drinks and a generous tip. The ocean breeze carried away the last whispers of what had been, leaving only what could be. It was time to write a new story. My own.